This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What's up, guys and gals? Jared here with another Out of This World movie review. So this last weekend, I had the pleasure of going out and seeing the latest film from Damien Chazelle, First Man. First Man focuses on the evolution of NASA and their race for space exploration against the Russians, along with a look at the life of astronaut Neil Armstrong and the legendary space mission that led him to become the first man to walk on the moon on July 20th, 1969. So is this space race worth the watch? Let's find out. Now, before I get into my thoughts, let me know what you guys thought of First Man in the comments down below. Is this film in contention for Best Picture at the Oscars, and has Damien Chazelle gone 3 for 3? Now let's get into some of the good things this film did. Damien Chazelle did a wonderful job at bringing this space race story to the big screen. Obviously, we've seen stories that are similar to this, like Apollo 13, but this was something truly different. The story was kind of twofold, focusing partly on NASA and the evolution of NASA trying to get to the moon, beating the Russians, being the first ones to do stuff, and then the other part of the story kind of focusing on Neil Armstrong, his personal life, his goal, his determination to be this first man on the moon. And both of these stories really complement each other and gives this movie a nice dynamic, kind of showing how this was not an easy task and there was lots of sacrifice. And this overall story wouldn't have been as compelling if it wasn't for Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong and his wife, played by Claire Foy, Janet. Personally, I didn't know anything beyond the moon landing for Neil Armstrong, so this interesting story of going into their personal life was really great, and it also was very enthralling with their performances. Ryan Gosling turns in a great performance as this determined but yet quiet man destined for space travel. He's humble, he says it how it is, and it makes this 2+ hour movie really watchable. Claire Foy, on the other hand, was probably the standout in this film. She did have limited screen time compared to Gosling, but every time she's on screen, there's emotion, there's tension. You see how she really cares for her family, cares for Neil, cares for everything around his life, but it's also really hard for her because she's basically a single mom because he's off doing his own dream, following his dream, trying to be for the first one on the moon, and she's just kind of at home. Obviously, this personal stuff really shows kind of a rift between the two characters. Moving on to the technical side of things, Damien Chazelle did a wonderful job at kind of shooting this, framing this in such a way that was intimate and almost this claustrophobic feeling. Lots of the movie are close-up shots of characters kind of in the cockpit of spacecrafts, other small crafts, really showing how these astronauts and flight people were packed in like sardines. Aside from the close-up shots, Chazelle was able to frame or display some really beautiful shots as well. One sequence that comes to mind is the launch of Apollo 11. What he does with this scene is really beautiful. There's a lot of big sprawling scenes. It's gorgeous to watch, and this is great to see on a really, really big screen. And lastly, the sound design and sound mixing for First Man was what really elevated this movie. From the opening shot of this movie to the vacuum of space, Chazelle and team really killed it in this film. These added touches really give a feel of how rickety these tin cans were and how crude the beginning years of NASA and space travel really were. And anytime a movie sucks out all of the sound, it's just silent, a big screen silence. That's one of the most satisfying things. One thing I will say is this movie maybe felt like it dragged a little bit, kind of when it focused more on the personal side of Neil Armstrong rather than the NASA portion of the story. The film does need these scenes, but it's a little bit of a lull between the big space missions. Overall, First Man is a visually stunning film that really gives an inside look into NASA and also Neil Armstrong's personal life. With a wonderfully crafted story, some superb performances, some out-of-this-world sound design, and some beautiful shots, but maybe with some slow pacing issues, I would highly recommend checking out First Man. If you're looking for a wonderful look into a piece of American history, this film is for you. So what did you think of First Man? Was this a fantastic look into the NASA moon landing? Or do you know for a fact that we didn't make it to the moon? This whole movie's a lie.
The moon landing did not happen.
I want to hear about it in the comments below. As always, you can find me on the social medias at Jared Buckendahl on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Stardust. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Currently, there's a t-shirt giveaway in the Gleam link in the description below. Go over to that, try to win a t-shirt. Until next time, I'll see you later.